Hi, this is Rachel coming to you with this week's Sparkle of Shabbat. And this week I wanted to do a follow-up to my post from last week about finding my sparkle after profound loss. And this week I'd like to talk a little bit about the grit behind the sparkle. I wanted to thank you all so much for all of your wonderful feedback. I am just incredibly touched and thankful. Everything from helping me remember some of my other qualities, like my sense of humor, I do appreciate that, to telling me what makes you sparkle. That was really so special, and I really enjoyed learning about that, and I think it's so important for all of us to take time to think about that. So the grit behind the sparkle, I think we all know at this stage of our lives that even when things look sort of easy and put together on the surface, there's a lot of grit that goes behind the results that we get or might want. It reminds me a bit of the analogy of a duck kind of floating in the water, and the top of the duck looks very serene and peaceful, and underneath the duck is paddling like mad, trying to move forward in a graceful way, or really in any way, frankly. So I wanted to share a little bit of some of my strategies of my grit, I guess, behind the sparkle, of how I've survived over the past year and a half, and maybe just strategies that I use in general. I did write a few down. And I think the purpose is to recognize that it's hard work for all of us to sparkle, and it takes hard work, it takes effort, it takes showing up, and that we can all do it when we put our minds to it. So here I go. I wrote down a few things, and you'll have to excuse me if my hand is shaking a little bit. I'm still nervous doing these things, but at the beginning, when I first lost Josh, I literally walked around with a blanket, like a Linus blanket, and I would plop the blanket down anytime I needed to take a nap or cuddle up. I was surrounded by family and friends, which was so greatly appreciated, and I reached out as much as I could, as candidly as I could, with what I needed. I ate chocolate constantly. I figured out that if I ate Hershey's with almonds, they had enough protein that I could get through. I drank a lot of coffee. I went to my doctors. I did talking therapy, medication therapy, even retail therapy at times. I leaned into my spirituality and my faith a lot, and I think you've probably gathered that from my different videos. But taking the time throughout the day to be thankful, to look for ways to be thankful, to increase my conversation with the Almighty has been tremendously helpful. Having humility, taking advice from lots of different people, and just listening to lots of different people's opinions about things. Whether I agreed or didn't agree, it was very helpful in getting me through the grief. Joining different grief groups, online, in person, Jewish, non-Jewish, people who have lost a child, things like that. And probably the most important one is self-love, just loving myself and having a dialogue with myself. Self-care, all of my girly things that I like to do. So to sum it up, I guess my sparkle for this week would be, may we all have the grit behind our sparkle, behind our grace, to move forward with living our best lives as best we can. And that even applies to Shabbat, having the grit to prepare a beautiful and elegant Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.